Hey, John here, Grape and Granary, Renaissance Artisan Distillers. So we are closing, and we're selling our still. So I'll give you a little rundown about the still. It was purchased in 2013 from Artisan Still Designs. It's a hybrid still, and it's a 60-gallon still. It's the hybrid part of it is that you can run it in both pot mode and in reflex mode. It has a stirrer inside. There's a motor here. It stirs the ingredients, or not ingredients, but the liquid inside, so you don't get any scorching. It's jacketed. The inside the jacket there is basically biodiesel, which is used to heat the liquid inside indirectly, so there's no scorching. You can use fryer oil, and in fact, I believe we have some of that will come with the still, so if you need it, it's in a container up here. Every once in a while, you need to drain it out and replace it with fresh oil. So, copper head, and like I said, you can run in both pot mode and reflux mode. So, if you want to run it in pot mode to retain majority of the aromas and flavors, however you have a lower proof, as you might know, what you do is there's a lever right on top there that directs the flow of the spirit coming out. So, when in one position of the control, you can, when you close it, the spirit will come up the pot, over, down, over, and then all the way across. This is the chilling mechanism, and then this is your area. So, spirit comes up, over, across, gets chilled back into a liquid here, and then it comes out right here. And we have videos on how to operate the still as well. If you want to run the still in reflux mode and create a higher proof, or you want to do stripping or make a higher alcohol product, then you can run it in reflux mode. So when you change the position of the valve, open it up so that the spirit is going to come up to the top, it's going to go over, it's going to come down this here, over, and then we have 4 bubble plates here. So each of these bubble plates is a separate distillation. So it's almost like if you quadruply distilled your product, but you can do it all in one pass. So, and then these can be turned on and turned off. So if you didn't want to use all 4, you could just use 1, 2, 3, or 4, and it would be like, so if it would be like 2 distillations, 3 distillations, 4 distillations, basically. Deflagmator on the top. This is used to send coolant to the very top of the column. So if you really want to get the highest proof, maximum proof out of it, with stripping more flavor out, you can turn on the deflagmator, and that sends coolant to the top of the column. That's going to give you, like I said, higher proof and less space. And usually when we run it, what we do is we send water, coolant to the deflagmator to the point where nothing is coming out of the still, and then you can slightly turn it, crack it back, so you take a little bit of water or coolant out, and then that'll let the spirit start to pass through, but you're getting maximum amounts of reflux. So, let's see, what else did I want to say? If you're interested, we do have a chiller that you can use, that we're already using. It's already plumbed in. That's going to be over here. That sends the glycol to the chiller here, still to chill the vapor, and it also sends the glycol to the deflagmator. Chiller has plenty of power and sized properly for the size of still, and it kicks on and off as needed. And this was purchased in 2014 or 2015, I believe. And everything works, everything's functional. Again, my name's John. If you have any questions, you can hit me up, and I want to answer any questions that you have. Thanks for watching. All right, I forgot to talk about one of the most important parts of the still is the control panel. So this controls everything from here. I'll go ahead and start the still for you. What we do, we turn the power on. You can hear the stirring mechanism in the still kick on, so it's stirring the liquid inside of the still. We'll go ahead and take the e-stop off, that's safety, and then we'll hit the power button. You can see everything boots up. Right here you have your reflux control for your deflagmator that tells you the temperature of at the top of the column. This tells you the temperature inside of the boiler, so you know when to expect the spirit to come out. Usually around 170, you'll start seeing spirit come out. And then this is your vapor temperature. So this controls your heat. You can turn the heating elements up or down to speed up the distilling process or slow it down depending on what you're doing. If you're doing a stripping run, you're going to just crank it up because you're not really trying to catch good spirit. You're just trying to strip it because you're going to redistill it. And then usually when you're on your second distillation, you run it slower, low and slow, so that you can get the best spirit. Column reflex control. This is your heating elements again, and an alarm in case there's a problem with the column. Everything's there? Okay, thank you much. So we're looking at this number right here.
And now it's up to 140 when it gets to about, depending on what the alcohol ABV is and what you've got in there, which is pretty low right now. It could be 210, 220, probably closer to 220 before the spirit starts coming out.
Okay, got it.
This pipe is hot up here, okay, which is after the switch. It's hot. It's warm here.
I see.
But cold here.
Okay.
So it's gotten as far as this.
Okay.
As far as heating. Okay. Once it starts coming here, the coolness here will start condensing the vapors. This will heat up, and then the condenser will do the rest.
Got you.
So from here, you can look into here. You can start to smell it. You can start to get a little collection.
Yeah, I can smell it. Cool.
Then that will start to fill up and start coming out. So this way you can judge, like how long, how much time you got left. Because it usually doesn't take long for this to heat up. This was cold. Now it's starting to get a little warmer.
Good to know.
And you can see we're at about 200.
Yep.
Now usually it will start when it's lower if the ABV in here is higher. Okay, but we're at the very end of running out the tails. So
right.
The ABV is pretty low.
Okay.
Yeah, once it gets to a point you can't touch it anymore, can't hold it, I can still hold it. This I can touch, but I wouldn't grab it.
That gives you a pretty good clue when to expect it.
Then I put this in there. And eventually you'll see this start to come up.
All right.
And I expect it to come out about 100 proof, maybe. And I'll run it down to about 40. Cut it.
Okay. This is condensed tails.
This is uncondensed tails.
Uncondensed tails.
Yeah. This will need to be running in.
I see.
And when it's condensed, it'll come out. I'll run it through the column. And it'll be much higher, in the 180s. And once it starts to dip into the 170s, then I'll usually cut it.
I see.
Okay?
Still on.
Still on. So, over at the panel, the red button has to be turned to pop it out. And you push the power button. The fan makes a noise until it gets warmed up. I wouldn't worry too much about it. You want to check to make sure these aren't tripped. They should all be in the up position.
Up.
Okay, now the panel is on, but the still's not on. So you have auto and variable. To get it started, we switch it to auto.
Auto.
Okay, and that auto pertains to the vapor temperature in the column. Okay. You can set this to regulate how fast something's coming out based on temperature, but since we're not going to go through the column, it always stays room temperature and just heats up full strength until it starts coming out.
Okay.
Now if I'm doing a spirit run, I would then, once it starts coming out, switch this over to variable and lower the temperature with this.
Okay.
This is the variable heat, but that's only running through the pot still mode. Okay,
In this case, you're running it through this column.
I am running it through the pot still, so I won't be switching it to variable.
Oh.
Okay, and the other thing we want to do is turn on the mixer.
Right.
Okay, and that keeps the heat even as it's heating up.
Okay.
Also, if you have any solids in there, it would keep it mixed.
All right.
We don't generally do solids.
Right.
Then the other thing I would do is come over here. position. Okay?
That's sending it to the pot.
That's sending it to the pot. So you've got inside, you've got a straight line over to the pot. When I have it down, it diverts it down this pipe into the column.
All right.
Okay? And on the back of this, it's marked.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I just took a pen and marked pot up and down and column this way.
Cool.
Okay?
Yep.
Everything else is set. I generally don't turn on the chiller until it starts coming out, only because it's noisy and it's just a waste of energy. But you want to make sure that shortly after it comes out, you turn on the chiller. Otherwise, this condenser water or liquid is going to start heating up. We've got a temperature gauge on there, and as long as it's in this range, you're fine.
Okay.
Okay. So shortly after, you just turn that on and you're good. But you can't walk away and forget about it, because pretty soon this will heat up to the point where it won't condense and you'll have vapors coming out.
Yeah. That would not be good. That would not be safe.
Okay. And then over here, when it's time to turn on the chiller, it's just to flip the switch.
All right.
Okay, and then it'll go through a little cycle, and then it will show you what the temperature is set at. Then it'll go to whatever the room temperature is, and then start cooling it down. I generally have it set at, depending on what I'm running, 50 or 60. The higher, if you're doing a spirit run, it usually comes out hotter. So I want to make it cooler. The goal is to make it close to 60 degrees when it's coming out of the still, just so I don't have to do a calculation with the
adjustment.
thermometer.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's not going to be exact, but you
Close.
always get a good idea of what it is.
Okay.
That's it till it warms up.
All right.
It's almost to 40. I stopped it because it was at an even 2 gallons in that bucket.
All right.
Not critical that it be at 40. So first thing I'm going to do is turn the heating elements to off. Okay. Now it's still going to be hot, but at least it's not heating up anymore. After a while, you see this start to go down. Okay, but it's not as high as almost 240.
Wow. Yeah.
So we don't need the mixer anymore. Okay. We can take this out. This over a little bit so I can drain this. But there's still, quite a bit of vapor coming off of that. So what we want to do, first be mindful of what's hot and what's not. We're not using the column. Okay?
Right.
So this is all going to be, for me, I need to hold on to something because I'm holding it. But hold on to this and then switch this. So now the vapor is coming down this way. As soon as it comes down this way, this is already warming up. It condenses and goes back into the still. So that stops it from going down into this condenser, and that will very quickly stop drying.
Okay.
Now because it's at the end of the run, we're done, I usually open this up.
Okay.
Okay, and when you're putting stuff in there, don't tighten this too tight. Okay, it's not as tight as you can because the metal expands. And then it's almost impossible to get these things turned. They are warm to the touch. And it's still bubbling, but letting the steam out will
cool off real fast. Oh yeah. Cool.
So, and then when you go home at night, you can't drain it now because it's too hot, and it'll melt the plastic piping and stuff. You can either leave it open and let it cool. If you close it, you want to at least secure it with these two bottom ones, because if you don't, it condenses liquid out here and it drips out.
All right.
And then we can turn off the chiller. And then, after a while, here, make sure that things are cooling off.
Mm-hmm.
They are. It's already down to 232.
Mm-hmm.
The red button
Yep.
shuts it off.
Okay.
And nothing has tripped, so it's looking good.
Beautiful. Cool.